everybody, welcome to the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, episode 377, Shot Through the Dart, and You're to Blame. My name's Matthew Turner, just about to be joined by Anthony Fitzpatrick, and we'd like to welcome you all to the Giants preview show. We are going to be going through some news, including some injury bits and pieces, then we're going to be having a look at this 2-9 Giants team that is playing far better than the record suggests. We're going to be going through all the stats, all the figures. We're going to be going through how they played against Green Bay last week. We're going to be talking about how they match up against the Lions. And we've also got a couple of questions from our listeners to get to about this game as well. Hope everybody is well. Hope you've had a good week so far, recording on Thursday as it is. We've got a great show coming up. But first, please do join our Discord channel. Links in the live chat right now or in the audio pod description. Had a few more people join since I last was plugging this, and it's still, just adding to the great community that we've already built. So if you want to talk Lions all year round and everything else, then do go and click the link. If you've never tried Discord before, very easy, very low-key thing. So hopefully see you there. College Football Podcast aired yesterday. Looked back at week 12 and ahead to week 13 in the college football scene. We are just 2 games away from the end of the regular season and the conference championship games. So do go and listen to the boys there. It was a long one, but there was a lot to go through. Please do like this episode. Sub to the podcast. You guys know what to do by now on that front. Please go and support Lions Nation Unite, our friends, led by Herman Moore, the mission to bring together the best in Lions content creators. And if you would like to support the show in any way, then we would absolutely love that. You can do that via Twitch or YouTube Super Chats. We've also got YouTube memberships, and there is a tip jar as well in the description of the show on YouTube. That actually is commission-free. YouTube, Twitch do not take a penny from that tip page bit, so that's where you really get the good stuff. All right, we have got some news to come as Ant is just about to enter the building. And firstly, actually no, I won't say that because I'll have to wait until he comes in because it's really important news for Ant. So I'll put that just to the second part here. But first of all, the Lions are wearing black this week now. Second time this season the Lions have worn black. It's a pretty number. It's probably my favourite jersey in the pen. So I'm looking forward to getting that out. For Sunday, of course, we will be live doing our play-by-play on Sunday. And if you are listening to this and you are, well, wherever you are, because it's going to be this person commentating, we have again drawn Jonathan Vilmer and Kenny Albert as the commentary crew for this game. So if you actually want to listen to competent commentating for that game, you may consider muting your television and having us synced up to the game, because you may have a better experience. And maybe we're not quite as learned as those people, but we might actually get the names of the players right. Yes, indeed. Anyway, injury news. There has obviously been quite a lot of people not practicing for the Lions this week, and Dan Campbell has talked about some of them. Says Terry on his day-to-day with his concussion. He's not practiced yesterday or today, so it looks like he's out already. He says he feels good about Branch playing, which is great. Says he feels best about DJ Reed and Malcolm Rodriguez coming back. And on that point, as Anthony Fitzpatrick comes in, Malcolm Rodriguez was activated at the death and just about got him in there under the wire. So Rodrigo, active, looks like he might be playing on Sunday.
Oh, I've been waiting for this day for a year. Having our Detroit Cowboy back, he's folklore legend here now. So I'm just glad he's healthy. He's got a good chunk of the season now to get back into this team, get back to where he was, and get himself a contract for next year. Because obviously this is his contract year, and we want to keep him for many, many years to come. He's going to be critical depth for this team going forward, because we've been lucky. None of the linebackers have really been hurt thus far. So having him back is going to be massive for this team going forward, and for the special teams as well in the immediate future.
Yeah, he's a big player on the defense and on that side of the ball as well. Dan Campbell also talked about other people. So as I said, DJ Reed, he feels good about return, or as the closest to return this week, and he is practicing in some limited fashion, which is positive. He was evasive on Sam Laporta's prognosis. He was asked what the prospect was of Sam playing any more football this season. He basically declined to answer the question, which is telling, I think, because normally if he's positive on it, he'll tell you, and if he's negative on it, he won't say a damn thing. So that's really damning for Sam's ability to be playing any more this season. But of course, I'm sure it'll be week to week, and we'll hear more about that as time goes on. He says he doesn't see Kirby Joseph playing this week, which is really worrying. And I didn't hear that Khalil Dorsey's clock has started yet. They did say, or one of the media said that Dorsey's clock will be started this week. But I haven't seen the news that it actually has been, which is quite worrying. But anyway, that's all the news. And how you doing, mate? By the way, didn't say hello.
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Had a few days off work, which has been nice. Just been able to chill, get a few bits done, and actually been able to take a proper look at the people we play today, which has been nice. So yeah, feeling a bit more informed for today.
That's good. That's good. Right, let's get into the Giants then, as you've just watched them. They're 2-9. Their expected wins is 4, so they have played significantly better than the 2 wins that they have. If they'd won as many games as they should, they would be a 4-7 team. Still not great, but playing above their current record. They've had losses at Washington, overtime loss at Dallas, and then losses versus Kansas City, a win versus the Chargers, a loss against the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans, and then a win against the Philadelphia Eagles before losses back-to-back at Denver, at Philly, versus San Francisco, at Chicago, and versus Green Bay. They've got all 3 NFC North teams back-to-back. Betting for this game, the Giants are 7-4. That's plus 425. Detroit 23-4 on. That's minus 575. But implied odds are pretty bloody strong with that. That means the Lions have about a 85% chance of winning in this game, which is horrifying. Detroit are 10-point favourites on the spread. The over-under is 50 points. In terms of the injury report, not seen at practice on Thursday, according to Jeremy Reisman, Sione Vaki, Terrion Arnold, and Kirby Joseph. People who were out there after the estimated report said they wouldn't have practiced yesterday. They were out there today in some fashion. Brian Branch, Penny Sewell, and Taylor Decker, which is obviously very encouraging for their prospects to play in this game. Other people who did not practice Wednesday and were not sure about, it's just Kirby Joseph. I mean, oh no, that was on the list. Sorry, I've just said bloody name. Never mind. Limited in practice on Wednesday. Tesla, Brock Wright, Graham Glasgow, Tate Ratledge, Marcus Davenport, Josh Pascal, and DJ Reed. I mean, in some fashion, the fact that some of those people were limited is actually quite encouraging, given where they're coming from, especially Davenport, Pascal, and Reed. Full practice yesterday: Sailors, Raymond, Frazier, and Rodrigo. For the Giants, theirs was quite long as well. Wide receiver Darius Slayton, Thomas Fidone II, the tight end. Outside linebacker Kayvon Thibodeau, who was out last week, did not practice Wednesday. Limited in practice also did not practice. Flanagan Fowles, Cordell Flott, Rico Payton, Paulson Adebo. So they're 2 starting outside corners in Flott and Adebo did not practice on Wednesday. Limited in practice, Jackson Dart. He just needs to log a full practice today and then be cleared by the independent physician, and he will be back. So the Jameis Winston experiment lasted exactly 1 week, potentially. Otherwise limited was Chauncey Golston, Nunez Roches, the defensive tackle, Deontay Banks, the cornerback, former first-round pick, who's a backup now, and the starting kick returner. Tyler Nubin, the safety, and then full practice the running back Eric Gray. On injury reserve for this team, most notably is Malik Neighbours and Cam Scatterbo, as well as guard Evan Neal, linebacker Micah McFadden, former Lion linebacker Chris Board, and then on the PUP, Eric Gray, who was actually full practice on Wednesday, so potentially he could be returned from the PUP. I'll go through the depth chart in a minute, and these are 2 banged up teams.
Yeah. kind of that time of the year now where all the injuries start to set in and all the little knocks start to pile up. And obviously, a lot of our injury list is people coming back from IR. So they're going to be on there anyhow. Four or five of them are from the IR list. So, you're going to have some vet rest days in there as well. And then, yeah, you've got the usual wear and tear. We've probably only got like two or three of them who are actually going to be out injured for the game. The vast majority are going to play, but yeah, it's just kind of what you get at this time of year. I say lots of little knocks, not little bangs. I don't think there's many people who are really going to miss this one though when all is said and done.
All right, let's get to the Giants depth chart then. So quarterbacks, Jackson Dart looks very much like he's going to reclaim quarterback one. Behind him, Jameis Winston at quarterback two, and after some pretty disastrous games, the former starter Russell Wilson is now the emergency QB3. At running back, after Scatterbo went out, RB1 is now Tyrone Tracy, who had himself a very handy year last year, and RB2 is another very handy running back in Devin Singletary. He may not be the player that he was in Buffalo or even in Houston in recent years, but he's still got some meat left on the bone. He did quite well against Green Bay last week. Wide receivers, Isaiah Hodgkins, Darius Slayton, if he goes, doesn't look like he will. Wandale Robinson behind them, Jalen Hyatt and Gunnar Olszewski, I'll say. I have no idea how to say that. Olszewski? Don't know. Tight ends, Theo Johnson is number one. Big fan of his out of the 2024 draft, but I was an even bigger fan of tight end 2, Daniel Bellinger, fourth rounder from the 2022 draft. Behind them, Chris Manhertz and then Thomas Verdone the second. And then the offensive line, which, dare I say, is one of the stronger ones the Giants have had in a long time. Not going to say it's really, really good, but it's a lot better than it has been. Andrew Thomas at left tackle, John Runyon at left guard, John Michael Schmitz at centre, Greg Van Roten at right guard, and Jermaine Illuminor at right tackle. Behind them, James Hudson III, Aaron Stinney, Austin Schlottman, and Marcus Mbao. On the defence, playing a base 3-4, the three-down lineman, Roy Robertson Harris. At the defensive end, nose tackle's Sexy Dexy, Dexter Lawrence II, and then defensive tackle is Raheem Nunez Roches, although of course he's injured. Behind them, Darius Alexander from this most recent draft and DJ Davidson. The outside linebackers in this 3-4 are Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau, although of course Thibodeau didn't go last week and hasn't yet practiced this week. Behind them, first round pick from this season, Abdul Carter, everyone's favourite draft crush, as well as Chauncey Golston and Victor Dimukeji. Inside linebackers, Bobby Okereke and Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, still my favourite name. Zaire Barnes and Neville Hewitt behind them. And then the nickelback, Drew Phillips, backed up by Nick Jones. Outside corners, Paulson Adebo and Cordell Flott, backed up by Deontay Banks. Corey Black, Jarek Bernard Converse, and Rico Payton. And then the safeties starter Javon Holland, the high-profile free agent signing from the Miami Dolphins, as well as Tyler Noob in the second rounder from 2024. Behind them, Dane Belton, 2022 fourth rounder, and Bo Braid, the special teamers. Punter is the Scottish hammer Jamie Gillian. Kicker is former Falcon Young Ho Kyu. And long snapper, most important player on the team, is Casey Kreiter, who actually had a really bad game against the Packers, although the wind was very, very bad for that one. And looking through that team, I want to say that it doesn't read like a 2-9 team. Now, the Giants have been a bad team for a long time, but there are some star power names on that team, especially on defense. But the problem is, they just find a way to giant at some point, if you know what I mean.
No, they're not a 2-9 team at all. And anyone who treats them as a 2-9 team is going to get bitten by them. We've seen what they can do this year. They've taken down the Chargers when they were healthy. They laid an absolute ass whooping on the Eagles, who just laid an ass whooping on us. This is a team that can bite in the right circumstances. It's a team that's going through a lot of transition right now. You've got a new rookie quarterback at the helm. You're obviously searching for a new head coach right now. This is a team that's very much in transition, but you look at the way that it's built and the way that the way that they're progressing forward, you know, a lot of their skill position players are young, drafted by them, developing. Tyrone Tracy only in his second year, Theo Johnson, the tight end, only in his second year, Jalen Hyatt, guys like this, only in their third year. Isaiah Hodgins, even him, drafted by the Giants. The Giants have drafted the vast majority of this offense and they're developing them. A lot of them still within their original rookie tenures right now. But when you've got change at head coach and quarterback, that obviously comes with a lot of tumultuousness with it, which is why they've been so inconsistent. But now Dable's gone, what you're seeing is a team that, and I've completely changed my outlook on this team after watching the last couple of games now. This is a team that's starting to bond, that's starting to fight. Obviously, Kafka's drawing something out of them right now, but there's a lot of guys here who are going to be fighting for roster spots, who are going to be fighting for the attention of the next head coach. For guys like Tracy and Theo Johnson, day three draft picks, they want to establish themselves as ones now, not twos or threes. They want these jobs, and they're playing very much like they want these jobs. They've got a surprisingly good offensive line, which has been really good in recent games. They've got even down to the backup quarterback. I thought Jameis was very good the other day. I think Jackson Dart's been very good in the situation. Obviously, even without Malik Neighbors, again, another recent draft pick on your offense that you've drafted and you're developing yourself. It's full of a lot of young guys, but they're playing incredibly gritty football right now for a team that's 2-9. Three of the last five losses are by a score or less. They're not just getting blown out every single week. And the one time they did was, against the Eagles, who just blew us out for all intents and purposes. And then defensively, you know what? I'm going to lie and say they remind me of us when we started to build under Dan. When Dan got here, we had an elite offensive line to build ourselves off, to put through gritty performances and at least compete. They've got a defensive line which can carry an entire team around them and can elevate them to a next level, and they're very much trying to use that at the moment to keep them going forward. I thought the defense was pretty good the other day, and there's a lot of good playmakers on there, and again, a lot of guys fighting for a future. This is a very gritty team, regardless of the record, and the worry coming into this game for us is there's only one team who's under pressure this game, and it's not them. If the 2-9 New York Giants lose to the 6-4 Detroit Lions going for a Super Bowl, nobody cares. They've got a free shot at us here, and given how aggressive they were in their last game, they're not going to go away. So you're going to have to treat them with respect, and you're going to have to treat them with disdain at the same point and try and stomp these guys into the ground because, yeah, they're not playing like a 2-9 team right now. And they've got areas that can really, really hurt us. And the match is not a good one for us in some areas. So, yeah, this Giants team is going to get there eventually. If Dart figures it out with Neighbors is back, they're going to be very dangerous because of these trenches they've got.
It's just a weird one when you look at the overall team. Their problem for me is that when one side of the ball does well, the other one does badly. They're not playing complementary football. If you have a look at the games that they've played, and just in terms of pure yardage, they've only gone over 268 passing yards once this season. They've gone under 100 rushing yards, which really should be their calling card, especially with Dart under centre. They went under 85 rushing yards 3 times this season in 11 games, which is just not acceptable for a team that's got Scatterbo, Tracy, and Singletary as their running backs. That's a stable where you want that to be what you do. And you've invested heavily in this offensive line with John Michael Schmidt coming in, who was the best centre of that draft in 2023. Andrew Thomas at left tackle being a first rounder who you've now paid. They brought in Van Roten, Runyon, and Illuminor. They've drafted Mbo, who a lot of people like to be a sort of backup rotational guy out of this draft. So they've thrown a lot at this, and Aaron Stinney is a pretty high-profile backup as well to have on the offensive line. So they have really wanted to run the ball. And they've called a lot of designed runs for Jackson Dart, and it just hasn't... It obviously led to knocking him out for a game. It has been successful in some part, but I think the cost of their receiving game, although of course Neighbours going out really didn't help that. And, you know, when the offense has not been exactly firing, you go, oh, you really want this defensive line to back them up. And it is star-studded, but in some ways, even though it's super aggressive, slightly underperforming, it's only held teams to rushing yards under 105 twice this season. They've conceded over 219 rushing yards twice this year against the Commanders and the Eagles. And then in terms of pass defense, well, teams are consistently running on them, so they haven't had to pass the ball a huge amount. They've only conceded over 300 yards in the air once this season. So, you know, they've tightened up in that regard. But it's not really what you'd expect from the Giants, who maybe aren't so strong in the secondary and are strong up front, that teams are running on them and they're not having to pass the ball. That potentially is changing with a change of head coach. Of course, it's Mike Kafka, the offensive coordinator, who stepped in as the interim head coach. And for me, it's a team which is just struggling to put it all together. There's bits and pieces I really, really like when I watch them, but it's never really, they haven't put it all together, apart from maybe that Eagles game.
I mean, I thought they were very complimentary against the Packers.
But they should have won that game.
I'm seeing a team that's getting better. I mean, come on. I mean, it's very hard to go at them for being inconsistent. They've lost running back one and wide receiver one this year. You lose Malik Neighbours, who's your absolute stud and your game changer. So you need someone else to fill that role, and you've had to go to Isaiah Hodgins and, you know, young guys on the roster who are still developing right now. And then you've lost Cam Scatterboo, like 2 major draft picks you've lost out your system. And you've had to go and wait for Tyrone Tracy to get going. But Tyrone Tracy has got going the last 2 weeks. The receivers are standing up and making plays now. They've had to do it without their quarterback, who's without concussion. You know, I look at the inconsistencies of this team and I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah.
It's not because they're not good. It's because they've had injuries and that affecting what they've been able to do. But especially against the Packers, you've seen they're starting to figure these issues out now. And they're starting to figure these issues out, and they're starting to be a very dangerous football team. And, you know, we're hitting them at the wrong time, probably. Because I saw a very complimentary team that played some great defense, that played some great offense, that got some shitty calls off the refs like we've had in recent years. And ultimately, they made one mistake, which cost them the opportunity of a really big win here. Just one. And the NFL is very fine margins. But you know, I saw the way they can beat us in that game, and they've figured out that they can do it. And again, now you're living not under the shadow of Daboll anymore, and you're on a new era now. I think it's freed them up a little bit as well. They're going out and they're playing more free, a little more loose. And, you know, I thought the performances recently have been a lot better. So, you know, it's going to be tough regardless. Again, the team does not. It's better than what it reads on paper and what the stats say about it.
It just struck me that would have been a much better title for the show, Shadow of the Dayball, as in Shadow of the Day by Linkin Park. But anyway, it would have been much better than what I did, which is try and make Ash proud. But anyway.
Why would you do that?
Well, because you'd be disappointed, and that's great.
Knowing your existence is to disappoint me is
yes. Brent says, any update on Frazier? We could use some more offensive line depth. He was full practice on Wednesday, Brent. So, full practice what did I say?
Let's be honest. He's not going to offer dick this year. Let's just get this out of the way now. He's not played football in over a year. He's been hurt. He's had no practice, no nothing. Let's just pump the brakes on this Frazier stuff right now. Like, expecting him to contribute anything. Look at Wingo. Wingo can't contribute anything, and he's fully healthy. Like, these round 6, round 7 picks are that for a reason. It's because they're not very good. and they're not just going to step in your team and give you something you haven't got. So I think we need to pump, because again, I don't want to see another rookie built up to be burnt down. I'm seeing all this Tesla stuff now, people unrealistically saying Tesla is going to be the next greatest thing after a preseason. And oh, shock horror, he's having the season that a developmental third round rookie does. And now everybody's angry with him. And it's like, you built him up. That's your fault. I mean, we got to pump this stuff on Frazier. He is not going to come in and make a difference day one. So, it doesn't matter whether he's healthy or not.
Many thanks to mile marker 301 for the $10 super chat, says Goff Slappy and Proud, smiley emoji. Hell yeah, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, on Frazier, the only thing I would say, I don't expect him to play a snap, but would you activate him ahead of Michael Neese? Or would you lock him down for the year? You'd just shut him down.
I'd shut him down and wait till next year.
Fair.
I just don't think at this point in time Neese has played NFL football and he will be there. Like, Frazier's just not played in so long. He's not even practiced. He's not started practicing until this week. He ain't touched a football in anger in a year. And where are you going to play him as well? Left guard? I'm not playing him over Awashika. He's not playing right guard because Ratledge ain't moving. There's no other space on the roster for him. You're putting him in as a backup guard essentially.
Yeah.
We've got Colon for that, so I don't really see where you need him. I would just shut him down, get him healthy, get him ready for next year, because there's not going to be many opportunities to play him this season.
I do find it interesting they started his clock at all. Because
I mean, you've got to, I guess, in some cases, but and see what's what. Obviously, you don't know what the situation is going to be like in a few weeks. If Awashika would have been hurt in the meanwhile or something, and he's off for months or whatever, then you kind of want him in there as a bit of depth. But with Awashika and Colon here, I don't see him being any better right now, and people are immediately going to fire Mahogany at me as some sort of excuse. I will just tell you now, Christian Mahogany was 10 times better in college than Miles Frazier ever was, and he is he was already NFL technically ready because of where he came from, and you could tell that instantly. He fell in the draft because of intangibles that were not his fault. So,
yeah,
there is a difference.
Let's go into stats, shall we, before talking about the Packers game, because the Packers game is a really, really interesting one to talk about. I know the quarterback is different, but the rest of the team isn't. Overall, this team per PFF is 29th. DVOA has it 24th. EPA has it 25th. On offense, PFF has it 23rd. EPA has it 13th. So big disparity there. But both of those metrics have this defense 29th overall. On special teams, PFF has it at 18th, so about middle of the pack. Jackson Dart so far this season has had 57 rushing attempts for 317 yards. That's 5.6 yards per carry and 7 touchdowns. Really highlights just how often he's been used in the designed run game. I think he's played, I want to say, 10 games. He's played 9 games for 57 rushing attempts. That's over 6 attempts a game, so expect that to be used. He is, through the air, 128 completions on 204 attempts. That's 62.7% completion rate, 1,417 yards, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, passer rating of 93.5, QBR of 64.8, PFF grade of 71.5. He has turned doubters into believers through the draft process into this season, I think, with people who didn't even think that he had this in him. I mean, the Giants did come out and say there's no chance he plays any snaps this season. We're holding him back and going to start him year 2. Look how quickly that died a death. Running back Tyrone Tracy, 83 carries, 336 yards, 4 yards a carry and a touchdown, 18 of 26 through the air, 138 for 7.7 yards a catch, PFF grade of 71.1. Wan'Dale Robinson is the leading wide receiver at the moment. 57 catches on 88 targets, 638 yards, 11.2 yards per catch and 2 touchdowns, PFF grade of 67.4. And then Theo Johnson, the tight end, 36 catches on 55 attempts, 350 yards, 9.7 yards per catch, 5 touchdowns for Theo Johnson so far this season, PFF grade of 61.2. Other good grades in there, the left tackle, Andrew Thomas with an 86 grade, but other bad grades in there. The left guard, John Runyon, of 53.7. Overall, this team is 12th on third down, 19th on fourth down, but 27th in the red zone. And given Jackson Dart's propensity to run, I'm surprised by that low number. They've only converted under 50% of their red zone trips into touchdowns. Meanwhile, on the defense, the leading defensive lineman is, of course, Dexter Lawrence on the 3-down lineman. He is having a little bit of a down year by his standards, but he's still playing at a much above average level. He's just not the game wrecker that you're used to. He's had an interception so far this year and 3 passes defended, only half a sack, 23 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 6 quarterback hits, and a PFF grade of 73.6. Leading rusher is Brian Burns, who was traded, of course, from the Panthers. He has 7 passes defended and 2 forced fumbles. 13 sacks so far this season, 52 tackles, 17 TFLs, 21 quarterback hits, and a PFF grade of 77.4. The leading linebacker is Okereke, 2 passes defended and a sack, 95 tackles, a tackle for a loss, a quarterback hit, and a PFF grade of 55. And the leading corner is Cordell Flott, 1 interception, 8 passes defended, a forced fumble, 30 tackles, 2 TFLs, and a PFF grade of 69.7. Leading safety is Javon Holland, 4 passes defended, 39 tackles, PFF grade of 57. There are no other well-graded players in there. Other bad grades, though. The safety Tyler Nubin, 55 for the rookie. Cornerback Paulson Adebo, 52.2. And the backup corner, Deontay Banks, 44.8. This team on defense is 18th on third down, 25th on fourth down, and dead last in the red zone. 28 touchdowns on 38 trips, 73.7% touchdown rate against them when teams get into the red zone. And I know this team might be different given they've got rid of the head coach. And, it's a different regime in some ways. And, Kafka had head coaching aspirations. We know that, he's getting interviews and stuff before this season. And he's been high up on people's lists. But throughout this season, this team has struggled in the worst moments. I mean, you can't have a defensive line like this and be dead last in defensively in the red zone. You can't allow people to get down to that area of the field and be the worst in the NFL, allowing people to get touchdowns. That's how you turn close games into losses.
Yeah, it is obvious the unit has underperformed. But again, you have to look at context with this sort of stuff. They've not had an offense that's been very reciprocal. This is a defense that gets left out there for long stretches on long drives and it gets gassed out. And particularly towards the end of games, the defensive line is losing its effectiveness because of the amount they're playing. And like every defensive line gets gassed over the course of a game, it can't carry a unit for an entire game. Like it can't carry the team all the time. And I've been listening to several Giants pods today and trying to look in on them. And they said just, it looks like the D-line does gas out a little bit as the game goes on, despite them having all those great players in there. But, really apart from, Dexter in the middle, the rest of them are bang average. But then, you've had knocks on your edge room as well. So you're having to rotate them in a lot. They're having to do a lot of work. Again, they're having to defend against the run a lot as well. They've not been good against the run this year. The best way to nullify a stacked room full of edge rushers is to take away the pass rushing opportunities. And that's what the better teams have done against them. Even the worst ones, like the Bears ran pretty well on them and kind of kept Caleb out of harm's way for the most part. So it's again a circumstantial thing. But if you let them, in this game again, I saw the offense. So many double-digit drives stayed on the field. It kept them healthy. It kept them fitter, and they were an effect for the whole game. So, again, there's inconsistencies to it all. There are weaknesses in there. Obviously, you are not 2-9 without having weaknesses and that. But again, it comes back to the overall inconsistency of the franchise and where it's at the minute. Just say you can't play complementary ball, and it just affects your better parts. And it's taken the offense a long time to get going. But again, they're in a position where they can now, and you're as good as your last game. And they're trending towards figuring out some of these issues they've got, which is not good. So yeah, but I think the defensive line can be better. You don't want to be the one team that it has its career day against.
And I mean, they're warming up to it. Let's talk about the Packers game. Lost 27-20, back-breaking interception by Jameis Winston in the final seconds of the game. I'm pretty sure they would have tried for two to win the game as well had they got that touchdown, which was not Winston's fault. But I've got a couple of takeaways, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And one, they are not going to go away from the run for love nor money. They are going to run it down your throat even if it isn't working. It reminds me very much of us in that regard. At the start of this game, the run game got shit all. And as you went through the game, the Green Bay defense started to buckle against the weight of what that Giants team was doing. Tyrone Tracy, by the end of the game, was getting 6 or 7 yards a clip with ease. And then in the passing game, it was maybe the most Jameis Winston game I've ever watched in my life. I think he should have been picked off 3 or 4 times, maybe all by Carrington Valentine, which were all dropped before finally throwing the game-sealing interception, which of course wasn't his fault for the first time, because Jalen Hyatt just decided to stop running his route.
Yeah, they may not have gotten much with the run early on, but what they did get and what they didn't have was tackles for loss. Consistent 3, 4, 5 yard plays opens up the passing game. 3, 4 yard quick pass out to negate any blitz coming towards him. Run it over for a yard. I have not seen Jeff Hafley outcoached very many times. He was completely and utterly outcoached in this game.
Every time he called a blitz, it was a screen. It was incredible.
To Tracy.
Yeah.
The screens to Tyrone Tracy negated any blitz what they had, but they forced him to go looking for the blitz because of all these runs that Tracy was having, just getting all those niggling little yards against them. It meant that Winston could get the ball out his hands quick. They kept using slant routes. They kept doing all this stuff just to get the ball out his hands, which meant the pass rush couldn't get home and make negative plays. So then Hafley forces the issue a bit, starts bringing in the corners and the safeties, and every time they did, Tyrone Tracy leaked out, drop it to him, 10 yards, 20 yards, whatever you like. It was so masterfully done by them. And, the amount of good, solid double-digit drives they had, because they mixed it up. Like I said, they kept running the football. They kept getting the ball out of Jameis's hand early. I thought Jameis Winston was fantastic. His reads were so quick. He was quick to pick up where the danger was. He was very accurate with his passing. There was some tremendous passes in there. I'm thinking to the one which was the first one after the half, and they converted a 4th and 1 at their own 36. They converted a 4th and 3 in their own half. I mean, it was a sensational pass from Jameis. He's under pressure. He's got 2 guys bearing down on him. He somehow finds Isaiah Hodgins from about 20 yards down field to convert that. And they kept going again and again and again. And they mixed it so well, the run and the pass. And they called an awesome game. And the only drives where they didn't really get anything going, they got called for a block in the back early, which put them behind the sticks, which is, you're done and dusted. And then they had that really shitty call from the refs that overturned that first down call on their 3rd drive, I think it was. Should have been a first down. It didn't get called. There were some really bad calls against them. Then obviously they got turned over on downs. But that specific part of the game was great. It was a 9-minute drive that was at the start of the second half from the Giants. Yes, you get turned over on downs, but what does that mean? It means your defense is fresh. They force the Packers 3 and out. They're aggressive. They're getting in Love's face. The coverage, I thought, was damn good. And then they're right back out on the field again. The Packers defense is in the mud. They then put an 8-minute drive out. Again, using Tyrone Tracy against the blitz every time they do get in a bit of trouble. Then the runs, because it's later in the game, keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And ends up with Singletary mashing it in. They're using a defensive tackle as a fullback to put even more muscle in there. Like, they're not acting like a 2-9 team who's given up on the season. They were inventive. They kept playing a chess match with the Green Bay defense, and they kept adjusting to it. Use Tyrone Tracy early in the drive. Use Singletary later in the drive. Keep your running backs healthy. Like, everything we didn't do against the Packers has been done by a 2-win New York Giants team, and I thought they were absolutely tremendous. Even that last drive towards the end of the game, they drove the length of the field. to get within that range for Jameis to try and throw that touchdown. And Jameis got let down because Hyatt didn't run his route properly, and apparently he's in a lot of trouble for that because it wasn't meant to go to him. But, Jameis had his second read, went to it. It was a good pick to end it all. But no, I thought their offense was tremendous. And we can't allow that to happen to us because that starts causing problems for us as well. And we've not have been as good against the run sometimes this year. When blitzing, we are susceptible to getting hit by some of these blitz moves and screen moves, etc. So again, it was a very impressive performance from them, and there weren't many wasted. They were just long drives, and that takes time out of the game, so it minimizes your possessions as well. I know the Packers were scoring on a lot of their drives, but they didn't get a lot of drives to put up a lot of points with, hence why the game was so close.
Yeah, when I said it was the most Winston game I'd ever seen, I only listed the bad. The good was very, very good. I mean,
His good was tremendous. His good was absolutely I thought. And again, some of the nearly ones he picked were on his receivers. Like I think there were two really bad ones. But the way you can tell he's a 100-game veteran. Like
he still
the
looks
way,
like an NFL starter. I can't really
yeah,
believe he accepted being a QB3 QB2 with the possibility of the Giants taking one in the first round. But
yeah. And even if Dart doesn't play this week, like he's playing for a job.
Oh yeah,
And he is an NFL level quarterback, so it doesn't matter who you're facing; they're dangerous.
he's the ultimate confidence quarterback, but in the opposite way to Jared Goff, because he can go in completely cold, nothing phases him. He just has a two-step drop and he rips it, and he just doesn't care whether it's a particularly good decision or not. He is going to get that ball to his receiver come what may, and that is a high-risk way to run the game, but it does mean that when it clicks, it looks very, very good. I mean, the very first throw of the game he had, which was to Wan'Dale Robinson beating zone coverage, was an absolute beauty, and it set the tone for the rest of the game.
And the pass protection was good.
I was about to say that
Like
against this Green Bay defense, which has given people such problems, including us, of Parsons and why can't I remember the former Michigan man on the other side?
Gary.
Thank you very much. They were tremendous.
They gave him nothing, and Parsons' sack was a coverage sack when they turned him away in the red zone. Like the offensive line, the guy who was blocking him had two successful blocks on him when Jameis was moving around in the pocket trying to find something. It wasn't for any skill of Parsons to do it. It was literally a coverage sack. I mean, when they were run blocking, the tandem blocking was really good. The receivers were blocking well downfield. Like they were working really well as a unit together, which really shocked me watching it. Again, given the level of team. But this is why I'm worried because they're under a new head coach now and they've all got something to prove. And any team in the NFL has something to prove. You're the best of the best when you get there. No matter what team you're on, you're still highly talented. And there's a lot of players on this team who have a lot to prove. And the crowd was really behind them as well. Like, it wasn't a crowd of a two-win team. They were up for it. They know that there's a lot of young guys here who are making plays, who are fighting really hard, who are trying to rebuild this Giants brand. And, it felt vicious. Like, the Packers had a lot to deal with in this game. I'm sure they'd have been shocked.
Yeah, I was shocked. I really genuinely thought that the Giants deserved to win this game. Let's go on to the defensive side of the ball. I thought they were very aggressive coming downhill. I thought that the way they diagnosed screens was particularly impressive. Love really struggled to do any sort of short passing at all. Every play action he had, a man in his face, just really kind of driving him backwards. I will say they were the benefit of Romeo Dobbs maybe having his worst professional game. He had lots of drops. And in fact, Love, I think, himself was suffered 6 or 7 pretty egregious drops by his receivers. So maybe the Packers could have put more up on there because I thought Love was actually pretty good. They had, Green Bay had some poor offensive plays, including like holding against this offensive line, which is always going to be a problem when you've got this many good players against it. They had a really good goal line stand, but Malik Willis's throw on third down from the 2 was an absolute peach. they eventually kind of got ground down a little bit towards the end, and Love kind of looked like, he could get what he wanted a bit later on. But Carter and Burns were kind of wrecking things as a tandem. So, they had the ability to get a splash play in there. Dane Belton had a horrible DPI on Matthew Golden in the end zone, which, put them at the one
Wasn't a
to.
DPI.
He
It
didn't.
was not a DPI.
He didn't turn
I'm
his
telling
head
you
and he
right now.
contacted the
It's not
receiver. It's
egregious.
okay.
At worst, it's petty. It's not egregious at all. Matthew Golden sold that like Ashley Young did back in the day. Because he went off for a play afterwards injured. It's like get real. Giants. I would feel aggrieved by that call. It was rubbish, but it is what it is.
And then the game-winning touchdown for the Packers is just an incredible throw and catch. I'll tell you what, Christian Watson, if Christian Watson wants to play like this, then he becomes a viable NFL wide receiver again. I mean, he had several good catches in this game, but the defensive play, the coverage, was as good as it gets, and yet Love's throw and the catch over the shoulder by Watson to win the game was absolutely amazing. Just quickly on special teams as well, they have some really bad kick return blocking areas. I know that we're bad in coverage, but they let their returner get absolutely hammered quite short because they just completely let Green Bay have what they wanted. They missed a long PAT after a personal foul. They screwed up a punt return after they accidentally touched it, but they did get back up on it. I wasn't convinced by their special team units overall. But anyway, what did you see from their defense in this game?
I saw a lot of positive from them again, despite, obviously them giving up 27. I'm going to say something very controversial here, which people won't like. But if Jared Goff was the quarterback for the Packers in this game, they'd have lost. In the most of the big plays in this game came from Jordan Love getting out the pocket and extending plays. If he'd have been in there like Jared is, a lot more static, he'd have been killed. Absolutely leathered. A lot of the plays, a lot of their big chunk plays in the passing game. I mean, one was a moon ball he sent up, which somehow got caught. But a lot of it was just rolling out to the side, waiting for a receiver to get free, being able to launch it downfield. Because the initial coverage is very good from the Giants players. Again, considering they're missing some of their star players in there. I was shocked by how good it was. They were very aggressive on the line of scrimmage. They were getting in the receivers' faces. It's quite obvious what they try and do. They try and jam you on the line to give that defensive line a bit more time to go and make plays. But, I saw a lot of good there from them. I saw when Green Bay tried to, like, for me, Green Bay adapted very quickly on offense, and this is what we've got to do against them. That first drive, they were using Jacobs as a runner because, again, they're not too good against the run, getting big chunk plays. They were using Jacobs as a screen in the screen game as well. He had a good one where he got to the edge and managed to get some yardage. But when they started trying the short, quick passes like Green Bay were doing, New York weren't blitzing. They were rallying to the ball very quickly. They tried a lot of these 1-2 yard passes, which just didn't work, which is what we, as the Lions, love to do. We love to throw behind, the line to gain a line of scrimmage, and that just didn't work whatsoever. The first drive was a bit of a mess, and Daubs ended it. They come out on their second drive. What do? They start using the quarterback read, which New York weren't able to deal with. They start using trickery. They had Melton on an end around. He was the second guy on it. It was just complete misdirection with motion in the backfield, which they had a misdirection on a quarterback keeper that fooled the D line. Another one converted a 3rd and 5th, I think it was. And then, so very quickly they realized they can't use a quick pass game. What do? The D line's getting pressure. We use motion. The motion really hurt the Giants on that. They adjusted quick. They get the touchdown. And it's not really on the Giants. That throw from Willis was just amazing. I think, again, the coverage was good. God knows how he saw his receiver in the end zone. God knows how he saw Watson there. But I thought it was really good from them. But then, you get later on, they just got a lot of pressure on Jordan Love. again and again and again, especially through the interior. Dexter had a very good game, but off the edge they kept flushing him as well. And there were very few times they got. I mean, I think the Wilson touchdown run was straight down the middle in the end zone, but it was very well blocked. But the other two times they were down there, the Packers have to rely on that Willis throw, and then they use that tight end leak, which they seem to have scored a billion touchdowns with us against us. Why? Because they couldn't run the football. The Giants held up very well against the run in the red zone for the most part, especially in that 5 yard line. But Green Bay just kept putting little adjustments on that were able to get them points, but it was all down to Jordan Love and his ability to move out the pocket and run. That is the only reason they won. And I've not praised Jordan Love very often, but I thought he had a fantastic game against them. And again, if Goff was playing that game, they'd have lost because there would have been a lot of sacks, there'd have been a lot more hurried throws. And that's what I'm really worried about in this game. Because if they do to us what the Eagles did, Goff is not going to be able to escape and extend these plays, and they're going to hunt him down, and they're going to have a lot of negative plays on us, put us behind the sticks, which is exactly where they want us. Um, so I thought the Giants' defense was very good for the most part. I just think they met a very good quarterback on the day, who just ultimately killed them by extending plays, and Green Bay adjusted. Got to use a lot of motion here. Motion takes the D line out the game. So that's what the Lions have got to do. But overall, thought the New York D was good.
So let's talk about the specific matchup then, and you've alluded to it already. The Lions' offense against this defense. This defense comes downhill quickly, is quick at diagnosing the short stuff. Goff has struggled to hit his receivers down the field. I think in the last 5 weeks, I'll say. The other 3 weeks were absolutely fine. So I think a big portion of this is what Goff do we get this week. But a lot of the chat about this game is how do the Lions change things on their offensive line to try and get him a little bit more protection. Indeed, one of the questions we had before this episode was specifically about the protection issues in this game and how do we do things differently to how we did against Philly. That came from Spray Family Red at 013 Brit on Twitter. What do you think, Han? I mean, how would you design things if you were OC going into this game?
I'd be using a lot more protection. What is obvious is we're getting overwhelmed, especially on the interior. The guards are not being given enough protection. Um, and we saw specifically against the Eagles, Jalen Phillips isolated Penei Sewell, which isolated Tate Ratledge, and Tate Ratledge got no help whatsoever. What I saw from the Packers and what the Packers did, which was to their benefit, the Packers trusted Christian Watson to be a wide receiver one and act like a wide receiver one. And by that, what I mean is sometimes he was one of the only guys running a route down the field. Like they trusted him to get downfield and make the catch, make the big play that they needed. Why? Because all the other personnel were in a tight bunching. The tight ends were coming in to block with the offensive line. The running backs were coming in to block with the offensive line. They were finding extra men to come in and try and nullify the edge rushers, work those tandem blocks better, and then hit your man downfield. We love to have 3, 4 guys running routes down the field at the same time, and we don't put too much protection in for our offensive line. I think that's our fatal flaw. You've got to trust, you're paying Amon-Ra St. Brown to be a wide receiver one in the NFL. He's got one of the biggest contracts going for a wide receiver. Make him do the work of a wide receiver one. You send him out there, you trust he's going to get the job done. You bring your tight ends in and you start bringing more protection for this line, more protections for your tackles. You know, if you get the tight ends in there with the tackles, then the tackles can disengage. They can go in and help with the guards. Find a way to work the matchups better. And again, some of Green Bay's better passes from a clean pocket came when there was just 1 or 2 men running routes downfield, and that was it. But they trusted their stars to do the job for them, and they did it. So that's ultimately what I'm going to do here. You have 2 running backs in a lot of the time. You send one of them in to help block, keep your tight end in line, because that's what Brock Wright's good at, right? And that's what Ross Dwelly's good at, right? Bring them in, extra blockers, protect much better. That's what you've got to do. And you've got to execute properly as well. When the Packers executed properly, they had success. Again, that Wilson touchdown run, everybody blocked to perfection and they just ran 14 yards up the middle and got there. When they didn't, they had a lot of issues. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sending less guys downfield and I'm trusting them to make plays. Because we're going to have a lot of issues if we don't bring much protection in here. I'm just going to tell you that for free right now. This New York D-line can rush 3 or 4 and get home, and they can sit everybody else back in coverage. And from what I saw the other day, the DBs did a very good job in coverage. They were very physical. They did what they needed to get the job done. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I think winning and losing this game starts with the run game. You have to be able to run the ball. If you don't run the ball and it becomes a drop back passing game, I really, really worry about it. Because the thing is, if we
you'll lose.
Yeah. If you do leave an extra running back in there, if you do leave a tight end in there, I am spending the majority of my time as the Giants with as many edge rushers as I can on the field. I'm going to blitz you to hell and say, if you're going to leave 6 or 7 in protection, we are coming after you. And I just think that that's a losing battle in some ways. I'd like to do the opposite to that. I'd like to see Goff in shotgun a lot. I'd like to see us 5 wide, and I'd like to see us get rid of the ball quickly and say we're going to win our one-on-ones on the outside and just simplify the game for Goff in some ways.
I think they'll eat you alive doing that. That's the problem. They're going to eat you alive. The guy who matters here is Jahmyr Gibbs. When Josh Jacobs was on the field and healthy in his dual threat role, the Giants struggled with him. Specifically, they threw the screen out. Jacobs had to beat a man one-on-one. Jahmyr is capable of beating men one-on-one because you can't have all the protection out there because your protection's on your line, keeping your quarterback upright to make the throw in the first place. So you need a playmaker who's got the ability just to make something out of nothing. And when Jahmyr hits open ground, he can do that. You know, he's going to be so critical to breaking this team open because if you can start running those big plays, that's when the Giants defense has to back off a little bit and they have to be a little more mindful of guys like him. This is a Jahmyr game if ever there was one. The Packers were not the same when Jacobs was not on the field, but at the same point, you've got to use your motion men properly. And you've got to have a proper motion game as well. Not this crap, just running Raymond across all the time and no one cares. You've got to have a legitimately dangerous guy doing this. JMO. Screw having JMO run routes downfield. You have him running motion routes every single play.
Well, Amon-Ra used to do it a lot.
He does, but JMO's got that speed which you covet if you're playing a tighter bunch in the middle. So I would have JMO in motion a lot. And I would be presenting that threat to the Giants. And I would be using him to let them know we are going to use him on you. I saw what worked for the Packers. Again, I see us throwing short passes too much. I see everything that we like to do. When the Packers did that against the Giants, they rebuffed them. So get out your wheelhouse, start doing something a little bit different. But yeah, you've got to go heavy after that run game, and you've got to start it going because that's where the vulnerability is. But again, like so many issues, we've got to earn that ability to run the ball as well. We've got to open up a little bit and hit them with the pass game. But Jahmyr's going to be the way to unlock this one for me.
I don't disagree. On the offensive line, in some ways, they have to start winning one-on-one. We have to be smart with who we double team. And in some ways, we just have to trust them to get it, I think. Because if we give them too much help, I worry with teams just doubling up on the defense. In defensive coverage. Because, you know, it's hard enough getting us to beat the one-on-ones. If it's 2-on-1 in coverage because you're leaving extra people in protection, I think that leaves us in a really big hole. So I just want to see improvement from the offensive line. I want to see, you know, the coaching starting to make a difference. And if that doesn't happen, I'm going to shrug my shoulders and just say, well, we're not going to win or lose a Super Bowl if they don't improve. So
it's communication. The communication's been poor. Obviously, a lot of people are missing assignments and for the love of God, run behind your best run blocker. You have the best right tackle in the NFL. His wheelhouse is running over defenders and creating rushing lanes for you. What I would love to see in this game Tight end out on the left, motioned across to Penne, running backs going behind. Penne's blocking two guys at once. The tight end picks up whichever linebacker's coming downfield. Bang, big hole for you to go. Keep having the tight end in motion coming across. Run behind Penne. Stop running through your damn guards. Stop running behind your center. It's the weak part of your line, and you're asking them to hold up in protection and create rushing lanes for them to work with. It's stupid. Use your all-pro right tackle. Use your future Hall of Fame right tackle. Stop using the rookies and the makeshift center. That's what I would love to see here. And I think it would work against the Giants as well. Because you're going to isolate it. They're not the best edge defenders when it comes to defending against the run, setting the edge. So find that weakness and hammer away at it. But start, for the love of God, running behind Penne. You will have more success, trust me.
Let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. The Lions have been, I don't know whether it's right to call it a top 5 unit, but it really feels like it should be called a top 5 unit right now, the way that Kelvin's got it playing. If it is Dart, we're going to face something that we've not really seen maybe since Jaden Daniels, which is a quarterback that, it absolutely loves to run the ball. So is it that we get a spy out there? Do you think that's one of the things that we're going to be seeing? What would you do if you're the DC?
I would not be blitzing at all. I would be telling my defensive line, this is your job. Rush 4, do not blitz. I saw what happened when the Packers blitzed Jameis Winston. They've got the weapons to hurt you doing that. Like you said, you want to spy. You've got a front 4 collapse in the pocket, maintaining the gap integrity, and you've got a linebacker sat behind there just in case Jackson Dart gets flushed out. That's what you want. Because we're still banged up in our secondary. There might be no Reed, Terrion, and Kirby again this week, potentially. And the Legion of whom has good games, the Legion of whom will have bad games. And, it could happen from week to week. It might not be anywhere near as good as it was last time out. So you don't want to be putting additional resources going after the quarterback here. You're paying. Aiden Hutchinson is the highest paid edge rusher in the NFL after Myles Garrett. Aleem McNeil is one of the highest paid defensive tackles in the NFL. You've put a lot of eggs into this basket. You've got a first round pick in there in Tyreek. Say to these guys, deliver what we're paying you essentially at this point and go for it. That's what you've got to do. Again, when sort of the Packers did have success, it was very limited, but when they did, it was because the front 4 were getting home and they were causing pressures and they were causing mistakes out with Jameis. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't be looking to blitz or go after him that way because, again, this offensive line's good. It executes incredibly. It executes better than our line does at the minute. When it's combo blocking, when it's picking up late blitzers, it was incredibly good. So, yeah, I just want to see a 4-man front rush forward and the rest sit back and wait and swallow up anything they get because you should be able to stop the run. Tyrone Tracy is not going to be the best guy you face this year, but if you let him start getting 3, 4, 5 yards and just making these manageable, you're going to play right into their wheelhouse. So, yeah, a lot comes down to the defensive line. You've got to be very disciplined.
Most important guy on the field's Derek Barnes. At the end of the day, if we do have someone who's going to be tracking who the quarterback is, it's Derek Barnes. If there's a guy who's either going to become the extra rusher or be the 4th rusher and one of the 4 down linemen drops back into coverage, Barnes is going to be the rusher. If it's going to be someone who drops into coverage from a rushing position, it's going to be Derek Barnes. He has to play better than he has done the last few games because he had a pretty reasonable start to the season, but since then has kind of gone off the boil a little bit. This is the time for him to start really stepping it up. Can he get a sack? Can he stop Dart in his tracks in the design run game? Can he make some plays in coverage? Because I think pretty much everything else is there for the Lions. In terms of the secondary, I think it's been playing absolutely out of its skin, especially with the injuries. If we do get DJ Reed back, if Brian Branch does play, obviously that is a massive, massive thing. I'm pretty happy on defense that we should have enough to limit this team to where the offense can win the game. But that's been the problem all along, isn't it? Is that the defense has played good enough and the offense hasn't. So that's going to be the recipe again. Can the offense get it done?
You're right. We said the glaring difference between Philly and Lions defense was Jalix Hunt did what Derek Barnes could not. And he was that extra little difference maker who just kept getting those extra hits on the QB that roughed him up. If Barnes had been a little bit better being able to get at Hurts and land a few hits on him, make a few errant throws, you might get the turnover that you need. So that was the one glaring weakness between the two units last time, which were fantastic otherwise. So I agree, he needs to be better. But this would be a really good game for Aleem to break off his rust for good now, and for him to be able to really get at that interior again to stop, because they love to run between the tackles with Tyrone Tracy. They love it, and that's where their bread and butter is. So
Yeah.
it would be great for him to have his big game now as well. But Hutch as well. Hutch disappeared in the second half on the other day, and again, with great contract comes great responsibility. You know, this is a team ultimately we should be beating. This is a team who, at the end of the day, and with respect to them, have no business being in a battle with us because we're a Super Bowl contender and they are quite clearly a rebuilding outfit. But again, they nearly beat the Packers the other day, and the Packers whipped our ass once this year already, so they can hang in the same company as we can. And we need our big players to perform in this one. Otherwise, they can very easily shock us. And again, it just comes back to the entire thing on this team. There is no pressure on the Giants whatsoever. Not one bit of pressure. Hence why they were going for it on fourth down every time. Again, it's kind of like what Dan did in his charge there. Well, what does it matter? If we lose, we lose. If we convert, we convert, and we just keep coming at you until you turn us away. For us, we're gonna see now if this is just a blip or if there are serious problems starting to run through this team now. Because don't forget, you've lost 3 of your last 5. This is not a tiny isolated blip where you've lost one game and all is well that ends well type stuff anymore. This is over a month of inconsistent football and not delivering when it matters. And you've got the Packers and the Rams coming up next. The way the Rams are playing right now, they could dog walk because if they don't turn up, the Packers have dog walked us once already. There's a lot of pressure on this team to win this game because it's the last, I say in air quotes, easy one you're going to get for some time now. And your season could be in a lot of trouble if you don't win it.
Score prediction, my friend.
Oh, see, I feel like I've been very quite complimentary of the Giants in this one, but again, I've seen what I've seen, and I always look for an opposition's path to victory against us because you've got to take that into consideration. Having said that, there is a reason we've not lost 2 in a row for 3 years. I know it's kind of a moot point now, but every time we do get beaten, it seems to draw a reaction out of us. And every time our backs are against the wall a bit, which they are now, we seem to play much better football. We're at home for 3 games now. We've been playing better at home recently. It seems to be the away form that's gone a bit icky. We're going to win. How much we're going to win by, I think it might be a case where they play us very hard for a very long time. And then we kind of stat pad maybe a little later on when they eventually run out of juice. Now I'm going to say something like 35-18, but I expect this to be like a 21-18 game or something going into the fourth quarter, and we just pull away with a couple of late touchdowns. Eventually, our skill should show through. So yeah, 35-18 to me, but they're going to give us a bloody tough game, and we should not overlook them in the slightest, because a lot of people have already looked past them.
I'm going 31-22, similar reasoning, to be honest. More than a one-score game, but only just. All right, that's our preview of the Giants game. We're going to sign off now on the audio podcast. If you're on YouTube and Twitch, hang tight. We're going to be talking about the rest of the NFL slate just after we sign off the audio show. We are going to be live for the game, so we're going to be live at about 12:45 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:45 p.m. UK time for Giants at Lions. Come and join us on the call. We'll be better than the actual commentators, I'm sure. The next podcast episode will be the game review. I am anticipating that being on Monday the 24th of November because Thanksgiving is just next week. It's this time next week. Our preview for that will either be on Tuesday or Wednesday, November 25 or 26. Green Bay at Detroit preview. Of course, the College Football Podcast was yesterday as well. Go and check that out. Ant, what did he discuss?
A lot of stuff, the permutations for the FCS playoffs, for all the FBS conferences in terms of who's going to the championship games. Ryan did a segment on draft players who've intrigued him this year. I've had a look through the group of 5 new stars of the future, and then all the stuff about week 12. So it was a long one, but there's a lot of good stuff in there.
All right. Socials, Roar of the Lions UK, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and the group for worldwide fans on Facebook is Detroit Lions Fans UK, one prior worldwide. The website, rotluk.com. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate us 5 stars on your podcast provider. And coming in clutch, Danny Mac 313 on Twitch, subscribed at tier 1 for his 25th month. Says, go Lions. Cheers, Danny Mac. We'll see you for the game on Sunday. We've got to get back to winning ways, guys. Let's go Lions, one pride.
One pride.
Recording stopped.
Right. Rest of the games.
Dorsey's clock's been started.
Hey! It just in the nick of time for me to sign off. Bloody hell. Right. Let's talk week 12, starting tonight. Bills at Texans. What do you think?
Oh, Bills.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Bills, but I don't feel great about it. I gotta say, Bills' defense is still not great. Houston's offense is waking up.
My hate watch against the Bills didn't work, so I'm just going to fall in line this week. There's no way they're going to miss the playoffs or risk losing that risk losing again. So, although I hope Davis Mills has a good game just for how he does. So.
All right, then the 1 o'clock slate on Sunday, starting off with Steelers Bears, the 6-win Steelers against the 7-win Bears, a matchup of better than 500 teams. Aaron Rodgers limited in practice today. Looks like he might be a go despite his injury last week. The Chicago Bears are, I don't know, playing with the gift of God right now because, man, this is not a 7-win team, but apparently it is. Despite me saying that, I'm taking the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears are going to slay them. They're playing Mason Rudolph, or they're playing a banged-up Aaron Rodgers who's 50 years old. Chicago continue to benefit from an absolutely piss-poor schedule against no good opposition. They don't have a single win over a team that's 500 or better. When you get the Saints, the Raiders, Vikings...
Yeah, this will be their first one.
Yeah, and it's against a Pittsburgh team, which I think we all can agree is not playoff caliber. So, you've still yet to beat a playoff caliber team. And the 2 games they have played against playoff caliber teams, us and the Ravens, I think the combined score is about 82-33 or something like that. That just shows you when they're coming up against real big boy opposition, they're still not even close at this moment in time. But this scrub schedule is going to lead to them potentially getting into the playoffs. But, when they're going to play a big boy schedule next year, then they'll realize how far behind they still are.
Next up is the Patriots at the Bengals, and Joe Burrow might be playing in this game to give the Bengals a chance against the number 1 seed. No, are they the number 1 seed? They are the number 1 seed in the AFC, the New England Patriots. No, they're not. The Denver Broncos are, aren't they? Denver Broncos are the number 1 seed. But still, Drake May against this Bengals defense feels like a bit of a mismatch. Even if Burrow is back, I'm taking the Pats.
Oh yeah. New England Patriots going to absolutely destroy them. They're not known for they're not one of the best sacking teams in the league, but it doesn't matter. The defense is just going to absolutely nullify anything that the Bengals have, and the Bengals defense just seems like it's given up a bit. So, yeah, Patriots will win quite easily.
Just to answer Brent, so Rodgers was limited in practice today, so Mason Rudolph may not start. It depends whether Rodgers continues on his upward trajectory this week. Next up, Vikings at Packers. Vikings have won 2 straight at Lambeau. This would be for 3, but number 9 is not the 9 alter ego he was looking for. Regrettably, I'm taking the Packers.
The Packers are going to wreck the Vikings. They're going to absolutely wreck them. And, I don't think there's no chance the Vikings can win in Lambeau. They're quite clearly the poorest team in the NFC North this year by a distance. And you'll see that in this one.
Let's see if this is going to be your upset of the week. Seahawks at Tennessee Titans. 7-win Seahawks, who had to have an absolutely terrible day by Darnold to lose by 2 to the Rams, against a Tennessee side unlucky to lose last week in your upset pick of the week. Going Titans again?
No. Seahawks won't put up 2 duds in a row. I think they're too good for that. Titans had their shot last week and they've lost it, so no. No chance of an upset in this one.
Next up is the Colts at the Kansas City Chiefs. 8-2 Colts against the 5-5 Chiefs. Chiefs desperate for a win. Daniel Jones has regressed significantly, but Jonathan Taylor is still Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren is still Tyler Warren. So, I have no idea who you're going to pick.
Bear with me one moment.
No, that's all right. Don't worry.
What have we got? Chiefs and Colts. I mean, the Chiefs need to win, right? They're 5-5.
I think if the Chiefs lose, I think they'll be out.
I think they'll be out, because Denver are so far in front now at this point that they might not even get in the wild cards.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they'll make the wild card if they lose this game.
See, the Colts just continue to be a good team, and they've got one of the best running backs in the league, so they can take, any sort of atmosphere out the game for the Chiefs. And I mean, the critical one here in Grossiverse storylines, the new evil New England Palpatine character he's got likes the Colts and hates the Chiefs. And he's the new scriptwriter. So I'm going to say the Colts win because of that.
I'm taking the Chiefs. I do think that the Daniel Jones regression is real. I prefer to believe that.
God, the hate watch on Daniel Jones. This is getting to Scott Daly levels. You hate him. This is beyond reason at this point. This is a personal vendetta. That's another reason for me to pick the Colts. The more you hate on Daniel Jones, the stronger he becomes.
I'm just calling a spade, okay? He's just not a good quarterback. He's an NFL starting caliber quarterback. He's just not a good one.
An NFL started. There's only 32 NFL. There's not even 32 NFL starting caliber quarterbacks in the world, so he's got to be pretty good.
Yeah, but
very few people can do this.
He's an upgrade over Cam Ward. Right now.
You take that back.
Right
now? Right now, yeah, probably. But Cam Ward will be better. But
I believe that too. Okay. Would you rather have Daniel Jones or Bryce Young?
Bryce Young. Any day of the week. Because Bryce Young is a young, ascending quarterback.
Okay. Who do you think is the better quarterback? In 2025, who's the better starting quarterback?
Bryce Young.
And that is why I'm calling a spade a spade.
Bryce Young is a high-level starting quarterback. You're making him sound like he's not mid, he's not low, he's high. He's just been in a shitty situation. He's playing some really good football at the minute. I hold Bryce Young in very high esteem, so me saying Daniel Jones is worse means his ceiling's still pretty damn high. Your base is down here, mine's up here, so that's not a fair question.
Let's move on to
ask me, would I rather have Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold? I'd rather have Daniel Jones every single day of the week over Sam Darnold.
You would not.
Yes, I would.
Get out of here.
Yes, I would.
You're absolutely mental.
No, I'm not.
What is wrong with you?
I speak the truth.
What is wrong with you? Wow.
I say the thing no one else to say because I'm brave enough.
You say the thing no one else will say because it's madness. It's absolute madness.
No,
Sam
I bet the
Darnold.
draft picks no one else talks about, and they become good.
Okay.
I have the opinions
All right.
no
Let's
one else
see
wants
how
to
much
have.
of a homer you really are. Daniel Jones. This will
You
test
can't
you.
say Jared Goff. No, we're
Dak
not doing this.
Prescott.
Daniel Jones. I think Dak Prescott's a fraud. Dak Prescott is a stat padding, unclutch
I don't believe. Okay.
mess.
Okay.
All right, who would you? Okay, in a playoff game, who would you rather have, Dak Prescott or Daniel Jones?
Dak Prescott. He's a
What?
much
So you
better
want to lose?
He's
You say you want to lose?
He's a much better quarterback.
No, he's not.
He's a
He
much
stat pads. All he does is stat pad. CD Lamb and other receivers have made. What does he do in big games? He loses them. How many big games have Dallas won with Dak Prescott at the helm? None. Daniel Jones has won more big games in his 1 year with the Colts than Dak Prescott does in his entire Dallas career. That says something.
Jalen Hurts or Daniel Jones? Bearing in mind, I think that Hurts is a worse quarterback than Dak Prescott.
No, he's not.
He is.
No, he's not.
He is, though.
No, he's not. See, Jalen Hurts has the dual threat ability about him, which Daniel Jones doesn't have. And traditionally, I like dual threat quarterbacks. I don't like stand and sit and pocket passes. This is just a preference of me. I think Jalen Hurts is hella underrated. It's close. I would probably have Hurts, but just because I have a preference on dual threat quarterbacks. And that is not saying, and again, I hold Jalen Hurts in high esteem, so Daniel Jones is not put down here.
I think Sam Darnold is better than anyone I just listed.
Well, I mean, you're obviously wrong, so...
Why?
It's fine. You can have one good quarterback take with Josh Allen, but, you don't have to... Because Sam Darnold is, again, the least clutch quarterback you'll ever come across, ever. Every time he's put under a bit of pressure in a game which has ramifications, he loses. And he generally throws a load of picks, makes a load of mistakes.
Grandize has a question saying there's a rumour that Joe Burrow might get traded by Cincinnati. If the Bengals officially put him on the block and the price was right, would you trade for him?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, of course you
I'd
would.
have him in a fucking heartbeat. Sorry,
Okay,
Jared, but
so
if you're going to offer Joe Burrow to me, I'm going to take him in a heartbeat over Jared Goff.
Burrow is like the superstar level quarterback who runs a very similar offense to what we do, but he's actually more physically talented. He's got a better arm. So...
Yeah.
I would say that Burrow has seen less. He's a less smart quarterback between the ears, but it's marginal, and what he makes up for in terms of that is just physical talent.
And he's not going to get sacked 70 times a season whilst he's here.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to keep him a lot more healthy. So
Yeah.
you're damn right. I love Jared Goff, but I would trade for Joe Burrow in a heartbeat if the opportunity was made for me.
Would you make the Stafford trade? That level of value, 2 1s and a 3, and Goff for Burrow.
Hell yeah. In a heartbeat.
Yeah, I would too. As much as I love Jared, and I think he's been incredible here, that's a special level. Anyway.
That sounds very disloyal, but I'm very much on the thing we've got to get to a Super Bowl soon, so sorry, all this slow building crap now, we've gone through that. Now we've got to make the moves to get there. So absolutely I'm doing that.
Next game up is the Tyrod Taylor-led New York Jets against the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson looked awful last week, but the New York Jets are awful every week. Who have you got?
And Anthony's upset of the week does not go to the New York Jets because I'm not an idiot. Baltimore, very clearly.
Yeah, I'm going Baltimore as well. I was going to lose my shit. There can't be an upset pick of the week for this game because whoever wins, the league loses. Cleveland Browns versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Both 2-8 teams, both hapless, both looking for the number 1 overall pick. Dylan Gabriel starts again. I mean, this game does have the saving grace that it's got maybe the 2 best edge rushers in the league, or 2 of the best edge rushers in the league. It's got 2 incredible rookie running backs, and it's got Harold Fannin for the Browns as well. So And Schlesinger as well on the Brown side. There's redeeming features to this game, but fuck me, no one wants this. Like, no one wants to win this game.
You can't window dress a car bomb. Like, purely you can't. This is going to be absolute trash. And we all know it's going to be absolute trash. It's probably going to be a 9-6 game with about 90 tackles for a loss because neither offensive line can do jack. No good offense whatsoever. And just, teams stat padding up to the eyeballs.
Who wins then?
Nobody. The world loses having to watch games like this. This should be like a forfeit in fantasy for finishing bottom of your league. Having to watch this game on repeat like 3 times again and again and again. Like, that's how bad this is going to be. The Browns have been more competitive in games. I'm going to give them that. Like, the Browns, it's horrible. They're finding ever more heartbreaking ways to lose games to really just rub it into their own fans. But Vegas have not been competitive at all.
Yeah.
So I've got the Browns winning this pretty comfortably.
I've got the Browns too.
Yeah, and it'll worsen their draft position, which will just annoy their fans even more. This would be your first true tank game, really.
Garrett is a better edge rusher. Judkins is right now a better running back. And Dylan Gabriel is showing more than Geno Smith. You are muted now, sir.
Shadur's playing quarterback in this one.
Okay.
He's been declared starter.
Oh, yeah, so he has. Oh, well, that might change things. No, I'll stick with the Browns. I'm going to stick with the Browns. Next up, Jags at...
Actually, let's have some fun here. Combined stat lines for Geno Smith and Shadur Sanders in this game. Go.
Both teams are going to try and want to run the ball. So I will go a combined stat line of 27 for 60. So under 50% completion overall. 400 yards. 2 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Wow. I'm going to go... Let's go a little over 50%. Let's go 26 of 50 for 250 yards and 4 interceptions. No,
250 yards combined?
Between the two of them. Yep, between the two of them.
Let's go. Oh, man. Excellent.
Answers in the comments. What is the stat line between Geno Smith and Shadur Sanders going to be this weekend?
Oh, fucking hell. Right. Jags at Cardinals. Jags got back to winning ways in a big way last week. Some would say an unexpected way. Some would say not. 6-win Jacksonville now against the 3-win Cardinals in Arizona. I have the Jags, as much as it pains me.
My upset of the week goes to the Arizona Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to beat the Jags because the Jags just want to be a terrible football team on their day. This is the one the Cardinals can still
Is this the
win,
Pittsburgh Steelers argument where if they get up too far over 500, they've got to slip back?
I mean, it could be. I mean, they probably can't go much further above 500 with their level of fraudulence. So yeah, I'm going to call it the Pittsburgh Steelers rule. I think that's what I'm going to make it. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers rule. You're so mid that you can't get that far over 500. So the law of averages is you're going to lose when you get a game or two over. Yeah, I'm going to call it that. That's good. The Steelers rule.
The Steelers rule. Next up, a massive NFC East game between the 8-win Eagles and a Dallas Cowboys team that needs to win for playoff survival, really. It's in Dallas. It's the first home game since Marshawn Nealon passed away. So it's going to be an emotional game.
Who's in it, sorry?
Eagles, Cowboys. This is my upset of the week. I have the Cowboys.
No, cause I mean, what's the Cowboys' record right now?
4-5-1.
So this is a game really that the Cowboys need to be winning.
Yeah.
to stay in the playoffs. So there is a level of pressure on this game. This is a game that means something, which means Stat Prescott is going to absolutely shite the bed and deliver a terrible performance, and this Cowboys team are going to get rolled over by the Eagles.
How can you say that about a team that's led in sacks by James Houston? How can you say that?
So, okay, the Eagles and Cowboys have already played one another this year. That Eagles defense shut the Cowboys out in the second half of that game. That Eagles defense is absolute clamps when it comes there. You're telling me Dak Prescott's going to turn into Daniel Jones all of a sudden? No, he is not. He's not that good.
Stop it. Stop it.
You mean stop it?
Oh.
Dak Prescott is not...
Dak Jones!
Dak Jones. Dak Jones. Dak Jones.
Yeah, baby! There he is. They're the same guy. It's Dak Jones.
No, because Daniel Jones could do better in big games.
Yes.
I've said this ever since... I've always said Jared Goff is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott.
I know, and you were very right.
Yeah, exactly. That is the level of which I do not hold Dak Prescott. He's not a top 10 quarterback.
No.
He's never been a top 10 quarterback.
No.
Because he's got the unclutch gene. You can't be a top 10 QB in the NFL if you've got the unclutch gene. So
I agree. He's not a top 10 quarterback, and he probably was for one season, and that's pretty much it.
I still think the Eagles are going to win here. They will want it as well, because this pretty much ends the Cowboys' season.
It does. I will say, though, the Eagles are a major fraudulent team. That's the only thing about this game that makes me think that the Cowboys have a big chance, is that the Eagles...
Their defense isn't fraudulent.
No, it isn't, but...
Their defense is legitimate. Dallas's problem is always running the football. They can't run it enough. So they have... Dak needs to throw it 50 times a game, which is why he gets 400 yards all these games, just because he's throwing it all the time. It just kind of doesn't work, and the Eagles have figured out this offense already. So, yeah, it's just not happening.
It's just not cricket. Right. What is cricket is the Ashes start in a few hours. Atlanta Falcons against the New Orleans Saints, an NFC South matchup, where the visiting Falcons are a 3-win team and the home Saints are a 2-win team. It's a shit-off. This is the game I don't want to watch this weekend. I tell you what, though, I'm taking... I don't want to say it. I'm taking the Falcons again. Please, please, please don't fuck this up. I mean, the Saints don't even want to win, but they keep pulling it out.
A phrase that I never... ever thought I would say this season. I think the Saints are going to win a game of football.
There we go, wow. They're the favourites.
And they probably should be as well. The Falcons are awful. And they're playing what? Kirko Chains is in for the year now. Kirko doesn't care. He's had his money from them. He doesn't give a damn anymore. He's already 1 foot into the retirement home.
They are 2-point favourites.
Yeah. It's like, it is only so... Well, if Bijan and Algier can have a good day, then maybe the Falcons have a chance. But the pair of them are going to need to rush for 100 yards each. And teams seem to have figured out Bijan recently. He's not been as more effective as usual. But you've got Kirko on one side of it, who just... He doesn't care. He really has never cared since he went to Atlanta. He just cared about their money. He doesn't give a damn about that team.
I don't agree. I think Kirk carries himself with grace.
Tyler Shook is a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins.
I think that's close.
Not in their prime. Yeah. Not in their prime.
Right now, I think that's a very, very close argument.
Tyler Shook is better than Kirk Cousins.
Right.
The Saints have the better quarterback in this one, and they will find a way to make it work.
Let's move on from talking about this terrible game and instead talk about a matchup of two plus 500 teams. It's the visiting Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the LA Rams. Tampa 6-4 against the 8-2 jointly leading NFC LA Rams, along with the Philadelphia Eagles. Everyone and their dog is picking the Rams, and I feel like it's a far, far closer game than people are giving it credit for. But unfortunately, I am picking the Rams.
Unfortunately, I think it's people are in the part now where they're wanting to try and pretend the Rams are not good, almost to try and make up for the fact that we're playing them in a few weeks, and I don't think people want to admit this Rams team might be a little better than ours. And there's a bit of copium in there. I hate saying it myself. I think the Bucks are now probably done. I think the Bucks have had their spine broken. They've lost too many games now, and they can still win the NFC South. To be honest, you could win the NFC South with what, 8 wins this year, maybe, potentially. But it just seems the Bucks have lost their edge in these big time matchups, and they're just not capable of winning them anymore. And this Rams defense has been awesome this year, so yeah, I do have the Rams winning again. If it had been at Raymond James, then maybe I might have had a different view of it. But it's in LA. I think they'll win again.
I do too. Rams is probably a top 3 side in the NFL right now. It's hard to pick against them. Monday Night Football.
If the Lions went there tomorrow, would you think we could beat them?
No.
I mean, that's a bit of an indictment, isn't it? They've gone through a rebuild.
Yeah, but the thing is, they've gone through a rebuild. We've gone through a rebuild. They have drafted better than we have. We have maybe been a top 5 drafting team, but they might be a top 1 drafting team in that stretch. And you know what? They've also done a really good job in terms of eating a fucking load of cap and then investing it really, really well. I think in terms of the way that they scheme things up, they play to their strengths better than we do. We want to be the team that we see as our identity, whereas they're quite comfortable flexing themselves to fit situations and to fit game plans. And that, I think, just works better.
Oh, what have you done, Matt? Colts QB Daniel Jones was limited with a calf injury after having no injury status yesterday.
I did nothing. I just pointed on a voodoo doll where I wanted to hurt him, but apart from that, I did nothing.
Well, I mean, your harsh words probably hurt his heart already, so, you've already...
Yeah, but to be fair, you can't be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL if you're that weak-willed.
Is that the reverse Uno card you've just played there or something like that? Screw you, bitch.
Monday Night Football is another battle of plus 500 teams, but 2 I didn't expect maybe from this season. It's the 6-5 Panthers at the 7-4 San Francisco 49ers. I especially like the title of this matchup on ESPN, where it says 49ers host the Panthers. Sorry, if I can speak. 49ers host the Panthers in a matchup of NFC playoff contenders. Which is just fun, isn't it? I'm taking the 49ers because I just think they're a better all-round team. But I really wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers win this game. The way they're playing right now, they're just a fun team to watch, and they're taking a lot of teams by surprise.
Ride and die with my boys. I don't abandon them. I stick with people to the end. The Panthers are going to win.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about for week 12 before we sign off?
What do you mean I was not like this before the beard, Grandizer? I don't know what you mean. I am still... I think Carlton said earlier, where's the real Anthony? What has changed about me? I am still the same person.
I think he said that after you said the Saints might win a game.
Oh. I mean, I see with my eyes. It's my views can change. I'm stuck up. I stick to a lot of my views, but sometimes I have my mind changed. So, I've just been a good person, just altering my views compared to what I see. So
there it is.
I'm still me. I've always had the beard as well. Like, for the most part, I've never not had the beard. So when the beard goes, you should be worried. I look 10 years younger.
I never want to see that. This is you.
No, it's not. I do want to get rid of the beard eventually.
Oh, no. All right, well...
It's Movember. I usually have a beard style for Movember, but it's pretty much come and gone now, and I just didn't settle on anything, so...
Fair. Right, time to end the stream, everybody. Thank you for staying with us for the extra time talking about the rest of the NFL. Hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll see you Sunday. 7-4 coming, baby. Let's go, Lions One Pride.